Hello everyone, I'm going to share with you the next part in exploratory data analysis, and this time I'm going to use Excel for my demonstration. I'm going to cover these four things: histogram, pivot table, and then also data imputation with binning technique. Right, so the first step is for us to load our data. For today, I'm going to use the train file from the Titanic dataset. Okay, so from this, let's see what is the distribution of the data. Go to data and click filter. So from this, we can drill and see what is the value inside. So for age, the minimum is 0.42 and the maximum is 80, and there are also some blanks data there. So this will be a perfect example for us to show imputation example. Next, we're going to use the data analysis pack. I have myself activated here, but for you, if you don't have it yet, go to file and then go to options. In option, you can go to add-ins. Then here, you can choose analysis tool pack and then enable it. For myself, I have it ready. So next, to do histogram, we need to have bins. Bin is a technique where we can introduce category for some numerical data. So this is also a technique to transform data of numerical to become labeled data. So here I'm going to use size each bin to be size 10 because I know that the maximum age is 80. So 10 there. So this plus 10. So I'm going to create 8 bins, 9 bins, where 10 means I'm going to count the number of people age 0 until 10. And then 20 here means people who age 11 until 20. So to do this, I'm going to activate the data analysis pack, choose histogram, and then choose the input bin. Then the bin range here. And then I'm going to use label and output the values here. Then I want to chart the output and then press OK. So this tells us the distribution of frequency of people who is age 0 until 10. The number of people is 64. For 80, the number of people above 70 and until 80 is 5. So to do that, we go to age, unselect, and choose above 70. 4. Okay, so 5 people here, and below here you can also see number of record as 5. So that is my first demo done on histogram. You may want to see the values here also. So click the chart and then click this option to have the styles, or we can also illustrate. We can also display the data by clicking on add chart element and make the data label be displayed outside N. So this matches. Next, I'm going to show you how to use pivot table. So in insert, you click pivot table. This pivot table technique is a good means, a very helpful means for us to report the distribution of data, but by group data. So let's say we have a question to know the number of passenger class. So I'm going to use okay, first I'm going to click passenger class. So if you just click, automatically it will generate, create this under sum of class. So this is sum. We can change this to value field setting and choose count. So this will return to us the number of data. So there are 891 rows on passenger class. I want this to be in the row. So this will display the three options for passenger class 1, 2, 3. To check, go to passenger and go to passenger class. So from here we know that there are three passenger class options available. So this matches here. So back to this, I want to know how many people has survived. So again, if you just click, then it will automatically go there. So let's say I want to put this in the column, and I change this again to the count. Make it as a count. Okay, I'm gonna redo the pivot table. So going back to the train, insert and pivot table, just in different. So drag back one row in the column, and then passenger class in the row, and the number of people who has survived. So this needs to be changed to count. So we can see the distribution of the people who has survived and who has not survived. 0 means not survived and 1 means survived in each passenger class. So in this, we can see that people 119 compared to compared to the number of distribution of all this data, we know that people who went to the first class tend to be safe compared to people who went to the third class. Right. Then from this, let's say we want to drill down further by putting the sex. Maybe I can put in under column. So this is further distribution information. So from this, we can see that female, this 91, female who boarded the first class tend to be safe compared to a female who has boarded in the other passenger class. And we can also see that comparing to female and male, female has been saved almost 100%, 100% times compared to the male. Let's say now we want to dig further to know about the age of the people. So we drag this to row. So you see here, the data is very noisy because the value, this column age, is not sorted based on any category. So we remove this, and we are going back to our train data set, and we are going to use this binning information. So let me insert one column just to tidy this a bit, and then age group. We introduce a column called age group, and then from this we are going to use the if formula. If in Excel, it is good that we start with the biggest number first. So we put if this. Okay, I'm gonna check back this because for this one we are actually doing for F2, yeah. So F2, change this all to F2. F2 again. F2. So in Excel, to avoid any mistake, usually it is advised to start with the biggest value first. Right. So we know these people 22, age 22 has been categorized to age 20. From this value, it is now very clear that we have some data which are empty, missing data. So there are a few techniques for data imputation. Techniques for data imputation include right here. Computation which is suitable for missing data, missing or incomplete data. And the technique is number 1, to replace by global mean, or replace by local mean, or replace by any logical value, or by expert advice. So this is the basic technique. I'm going to show to you how to replace this value by average. So to do this, I'm going to put here equals to average of F2. So the average of F2 is 22. There are also other means as I explained before. For example, if you know that we can impute based on other information. For example, looking at the passenger ID, looking at the passenger class, we can see what the distribution of people who has gone to passenger class. This is based on the logical information. For example, that people who has this economical capacity will go to a certain passenger class. We can also relate the passenger class information with the embarkment information. So this basically relates to your creativity in imputing the data. For today, I'm going to use a basic technique, which is the global mean. So to do that, I click on age, and then I want to have the blanks data to be illustrated, and I will fill this up with 22, and just click this, and oops, so here becomes 22, and copy this, replace all the missing data with the column, the value 22. You might wonder or you might argue that this will result to the different output of data analysis. It is correct. Your thinking is correct, but this is also useful means for us to reduce the noise in the data. Another option that you can do is just to delete that row, remove that value. In my tutorial, I emphasize on data imputation, so I keep it there. Then going back to our sheet 2 just now, here we already have information on gender, passenger class, and also their survivability. So I just have to include, create new pivot table. You can also use insert and then pivot table. So here I'm going to choose it's not available. It's better for us just to go to train and then click back, insert, and pivot table. Click create new pivot table, and I'm going to choose survive as the column. Sex. No, this time I'm not going to use. I'm going to use sex here, and then the passenger class. What is the passenger class information? What is the attribute passenger class? I'll take the columns first for each group. Okay, passenger class here. Right. So from this, the value that we are going to illustrate is the summary. Then change this to count. You see, not suitable to put each there because H as the column because it's messy. So I put column H in the row. So from this, we have further distribution. We have more information here. By each